Thank you for taking your time out to be here. I know you've all had to come a long way. So, again, that's a joke. Because one of the bargains of doing this at work is that takes that out of the equation, which is such a big problem for a lot of people, and especially you guys that are working, to get to hear these types of courses and programs after hours, which is when we normally do present these courses. So wonderful to have you here. I'm Grant. I'm Dr. Grant Fourie. I'm going to be the host of the course. I'm going to be presenting most of it. Today we just get to tell you what the next 12 weeks of this course entails, what it would be that you would be getting yourself into. You still get to make up your minds today, so don't be too nervous. All I ask is that you keep an open mind and smile most of the time. We're going to show you basically what we present. We're going to give you a little bit of a history about of what we've done over the last few years and how we've gotten to this point. We've been invited by some of your staff members who've previously done our program, who felt that presenting something like this here would benefit a bigger group. And then there was also talk of a competition between the business units based on weight loss. I think you all know about that. I don't know how many of you are here purely for the competition, but we're certainly going to look at ways of incorporating that competition into the program just to keep it exciting. Maybe get some prizes back to the people that are doing well and trying hard and to recognize you, not necessarily publicly, so don't worry, I've already had that question. There won't be any public shows and displays. Nobody's weights will ever be displayed on the board unless you request it personally, so which will be cute. So we're going to kick off. We're going to hope to get you out of here by about 20 past. You can still have something to eat or drink before you have to get back. And let's see how much we can influence you. Right, so this is our program. It's called BetYaLife. There's the people involved. That's me. This is my psychologist, and this is the biokineticist that presents some of the lectures that we will present to you over the next 12 weeks. Our program has existed for about 4 years now in its current form, and it's been doing exceptionally well for us. We are located a little north of here in Belleville, a place that some of you may have heard of. You can Google it. It isn't as far as you think. It's away from the sea, and so people from here don't always know that it exists. But we've had a lot of success with the program, and we've grown from a small group of 3 people that we presented to 4 years ago to about 50 to 100 people joining every month to our program to do the 12-week course. And people will only do that, I hope, because it really works. It's something completely new. It's completely different. And some of it's completely different because it's so completely normal. It sits well with you. It makes sense. It's logical. It's like you thought it should have been before everybody started confusing you about what was good for you and what was bad for you. It's how you wished it could have been before everybody tries to start selling you magic shakes that help you to lose weight, so that even your eyelids look thinner. So it's not faddy. It's not pitchy. It's not sales talk. It's just kind of what you wished weight loss, nutrition information could be. It's open, it's honest, it's clean, it's accessible. Everything that you need to take part in what we do here, you can buy at Checkers or Pick n Pay. You don't have to find a wellness store on the other side of Kimberley that provides this particular ingredient. The men will enjoy it, and I'll tell you now why, because there's just really very little thinking involved. So that's not only why, but that is a plus. It was designed by a man, for a man, and a man knows what another man's not going to do. A man is not going to read a recipe, because a man always knows better than whatever recipe he's ever read, even if he's never cooked before. Do you know how that works? And a man does not weigh food. A man does not plan ahead. A man eats when he sees, and he eats till the food is gone. That's kind of the only rules he has. So we try and work that into the program. All right, so let's kick off. How how did we come about and what's this about? And I kind of thought it to be important that you know a little bit about me, since I'm going to be the one presenting it. You kind of know where I come from. And it's nice to hear information from somebody that possibly has walked the path that you are going to walk. It's not nice to hear from thin, young, skinny people all the time how bad you are. So this is our history. There's just some of the people involved. I think the only name on here, so we've turned the lights up a little bit for the video. So if you feel like you can't see, then let me know. We are going to record the session. We're going to put it on YouTube. So if you have somebody else that couldn't be here, you want to watch it again, you want to invite somebody else, they can find it on YouTube and watch it again, okay? This lady at the bottom, Jo, is my practice manager. She's the facilitator of the course. All the communication will be between yourselves and her. Most of it will be done electronically via your emails. Okay. Let's see. So how did it begin? I started quite an intensive research phase of my life, is what I now like to refer to it as, in which I forced myself, against my will and better judgment, to gain about 35 kilograms and move up 4 or so pant sizes. I stopped counting after a while. You know how those things go. Eventually you start going to the shops where the 38 or the 40 still fits you, because you know they've got a bigger cut than the other guys, you know? So it says 40, but the 40 at Willis doesn't fit anymore. So you go to wherever, True Words. So this was my story. I let it go. I didn't notice it happening. And by the time I realized, and I should have known better, and you would have wished and hoped that I did, because I'm a doctor. I'm supposed to be clever, and I'm supposed to have health knowledge and nutrition knowledge. It shouldn't happen to me. But it happens just as easily as it does to anybody. So this was me about 5 or 6 years ago. Obviously surprised to be in the photo, because you know when you're overweight, you try to hide away from the photos, trying to avoid being there. You try to be the one taking the photos rather. You try and stick in the dark corners, and if you can't, you just hold champagne bottles in front of you. So this is where I was. It was a dark, dark time for me. So I knew something had to be done, and my wife and I decided we need to start making some changes. So first, I got myself into shape, and this was the result of It's like you know me. So I was just going to say, this is part of my visualization process. I'm sorry you misinterpreted. Haven't you all got photos like this at home on your fridge? So that was the first thing that had to change, is I had to decide, well, what do I actually want to look like if I'm tired of looking the other way? Because there certainly was no shape other than round anywhere on my body before that. Then the bet came. So you notice our name is BetYaLife. So I want to just tell you where that came from. When I realized something had to be done, the first thing I did, I can't even remember why, was bet my own sister that I can lose weight. And we had 3 months from when I realized there's a problem here till Christmas. And I said, I will lose 10 kilograms in the next 3 months. We will weigh on Christmas Day, and we'll bet 1,000 rand that I can do it. And I did it. And that's not what amazed me. What amazed me is that I lost not only 10 kilograms in the 3 months, but that I lost it to within 100 grams of that goal or that target. And it's kind of how the idea started to get into my mind of it's not just about the food, obviously. There was a psychology that came into this process, that my body somehow managed to focus down on that time, even though I knew my sister wasn't going to give me the money if I won. And she still owes me, which is probably up to about, I've never worked out with inflation. It's going to be wonderful. So it wasn't about that. It was just about the focus. It was about the incentive. It was about the motivation. It was about the competition. It was about something just a little bit more than food. Because we all have done diets, and we all know that eventually we get tired, we get bored, we get despondent, and then we just don't want to do them anymore. And we need something to push us over that hump where the old habits die and the new habits take their place, their rightful place, and where your choices that you initially have to force start to become your preferences, and the things that you like are the healthier things. And you actually start to feel disappointed when you can't eat healthily every opportunity that you get to eat. So that's the bet. So we've worked this bet into our whole program, and everybody who starts our program bets us at the start of the program that they will lose weight. Then they get paid back. And I've had people who've won back more than they've paid for the course over the last 4 years. We don't invite them back, but it has happened to our surprise, because when we first started the program, we thought we'd be clever, and we thought we'd put in a 30-kilogram maximum. So you can bet me everything you want, I'll pay you your money back, but to a maximum of 30 kilograms. I thought, who's going to do that? And then they started to do it. And we went all the way over 30, 35s, and we had one person who lost 47 kilograms. So we realized that we'd actually created something almost by accident that really worked by combining the competition, the encouragement, the psychology, the exercise, which is mild, and we'll talk about that, and the food program, eating in a practical, sustainable, pleasant way. So it really worked. So I had to get rid of the food, as you are going to have to as well. But you'll be happy to know it doesn't mean getting rid of everything that you like. You'll find that sometimes when you take some of the junk out of your diet, you didn't really like it anyway. You just keep eating it. Everybody in this room has eaten that piece of cake that looked so nice when it was on the table, and yet it was dry and a little bit horrible, didn't really have enough salt or sugar. But you ate it anyway because you just, it's discipline, self-discipline. It's all about getting through to the end. So we often just eat stuff because it's there. That's the entire reason for it. And that's the parts that we want to focus on. We want you to engage your brain before your teeth and your tongue. We want to think before we eat. And it's not an easy thing to stop. So then what? This is where it ended up. 2 years ago, got involved in my very first Ironman contest. So I went from flubber to sporty and got back in. Somewhere there I was. I did sports at school and stuff. And somewhere, where it happens when the kids come and life starts getting a bit busy and you're a bit too tired to go gym and you're too tired to care. And it's actually a lot less effort just to warm something up or to drive past somewhere. And the kids don't like your food anyway. You know how that is. And your husband still complains that you don't make the macaroni and cheese like his mother did it. So eventually you give up and you are in trouble. So this can come back. This life can come back. So that was the realization of that process that I started out on. So what do you need to know? Oh, you don't need to know this. You don't have to memorize this. But this is what happened to me. We lost about 25 kilograms. Dropped my body fat percentage from 38% all the way down to 18%. Managed to put 10 kilograms of muscle back on instead of the fat. And have dropped my heart attack risk by 45% by just doing that. Which took me about a period of 1.5 years back then before I actually even knew how. But that's what sparked the interest. And that's when I realized people don't know. People are being challenged by hundreds and thousands of diets that are difficult, that are boring, that are expensive, confusing. And we keep failing, and then we keep thinking it's us. And possibly the problem is not us. Possibly the problem is the diets that we're being forced to follow are not sustainable. They're not real. They're not in touch with how we actually live. And that's when we started to work on a program that could fix this. So we started to teach people the program. It was a natural process because people started to come. I'm a doctor. I sit in front of patients all day. People started to notice, Jill, doctor, what's happening? Where are you going? Are you trying to move out of the practice 1 kilogram at a time? So, because you're all used to your doctors going to Canada, and so I think maybe some thought I was trying to export myself slowly. So, because you don't need an ID book for that. So many people start asking that I realized, but I can't actually practice properly anymore because people are asking about this. Everybody wants to know, how did you do it? What are you doing? You're looking so good. You're looking so young. I'm 63, and not a lot of people know that. I'm 33, 34. I'm 42. So I really am. So I've been around the block once or twice, and I've had the challenges that you've had to face. So we started a little program called BetYaLife. We developed a program based on some international programs that we compiled of what we thought was the best most effective programming happening from around the world. And we came up with a South African version of something I felt would suit our culture, our way of thinking and living, so that people aren't scared away by it as soon as they hear, you can't have this and you can't have that. I wanted you to have those things, but we want to show you how to have them so they don't affect you so badly. We realized we were doing so well that we got a little bit ahead of ourselves, I suppose, and we started a few other courses, basically based on, well, doc, if you can fix my fat with a BetYaLife, I've got some other problems. And so we moved to our next phase, which was the BetYaWife program, where we tried to do that. Funny enough, led immediately to our next, because we realized there was an even bigger problem, and out of that came our BetYaHusband program, which we realized once we started was incredibly difficult, and we quickly had to move to the Donate Your Husband program. Because there's some things you just can't fix, you know? Then you may have heard of some of our other successes. BetYaLife Sudan, look what we've done over there. A job well done. There's literally not a fat person left there. We'd like to take just a little credit for that. But they do prove to us over and over again that yes, there's hormone issues, yes, there's food issues, yes, there's disease and illness, but if you don't eat, you don't get fat. We still know to this day, air does not make you fat. And they have proved it beyond doubt. We did start BetYaSex. I'm sorry, that's sold out until 2026 if you'd like to sign up. But I think that's going to be very successful. If this program goes well, yes. Okay, so this is where we are. This is how we, this is me, what I do. I have a practice up in Belleville, okay, Belleville. Just next to the N1 highway, there's a 24-hour pharmacy right next to us. You might know the MChem pharmacy, and we're over the road from that. And we've been there for about 5, we're going into our 6 years now. And here I slowly started to become interested in diabetes. And because of my own personal sort of road that I traveled of losing the weight and seeing what the challenges were, we moved into diabetes, obesity, nutrition, functional medicine. Functional medicine is a very interesting field of medicine, emerging, it's growing massively in Australia and in the States. It's a form of medicine that incorporates natural medicines, but it's practiced by Western practitioners. So it means that I have access to alternative medications, but they are scientifically proven to work. They are evidence-based. It's not hocus pocus. It's not diluted down to something you can't see, smell, or touch. It doesn't just change the color of your urine. It actually works. And once it's been proven to work, it's incorporated into this model of functional medicine. It's a very holistic form of practicing medicine because I don't treat the symptom that you come in with. So you may have been to your doctor with high blood pressure and he said to you, oh, well, we don't know why people get high blood pressure, but here's a tablet to make it go away. And then next week your blood pressure is normal. And then what does your doctor say? Okay, don't worry, now everything's fine because your blood pressure's gone away. We never bothered to find out why it went up in the first place. And there are many, many, many problems. There are many women that walk into my office with depression. Sometimes I do something as simple as changing their contraceptive. I don't give them antidepressants just like that. I try to find out why did this happen. Were you born depressed? Do you have a genetic mutation that caused you to become depressed? Or is it possible that some chemical we've introduced into your world has made you sick? And it's a kind of a sickness we don't identify with because it's your brain. So we think it should just magically work all the time, but it can't. Things that you eat can influence. The way that your stomach feels, if your stomach is well, if your stomach is emptying, you feel better. But we now correlate a lot of our depression patients to people with eating disorders, inflamed bowel conditions. And I know that if I can clean out your gut and give you a happy tummy, I can give you a nice big smile on your face as well. And we all know that because if we don't feel nice, if we're crampy, if we're bloated, if we're constipated, we don't feel good. We don't feel happy. It affects our mood. And there's a strong scientific link between these two areas. So imagine if every single day of your life you struggle with spastic colons, cramping, foods that make you feel unwell, heartburn, ulcers, and many of us do. How does that influence your functionality and your mood? When we're going to talk about those things. I also got into the hormone side of things and started becoming aware of natural, bioidentical hormones. They're far safer than the medications that we get to use. We use 1/10 of the dose of Western hormones, but with the same effects and benefits. Wonderful products that we have there. And then I got into fitness. I am a member of, the Virgin Active. I thought it's important to show what membership. So I'm doing stuff, okay? I'm involved to the community. And I got myself into my endurance sports, which you saw. So what about obesity? Obesity is killing. This is the boring part of it. Are you ready? Because this is the part you all knew before you came in here. Obesity is killing us. This is what it's giving to us. Diabetes, high blood pressure, strokes, heart attacks, gout, blah, 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 blah. Does everybody know this list off by heart? Absolutely we do. Does it change the way that we live and think? Not a whole lot. We don't want it to happen. We kind of hope it happens to somebody else. But so far so good, hey? For most of us here. All right, this is how most of us are living through our day. We can't get the stimulants down there fast enough. We do whatever we can to stay awake. We use all sorts of magic potions. We spend hundreds and thousands of rands per year trying to keep ourselves awake and positive, but most of us, and many of us, are literally coping from one day to the next. And when the world pressure starts to build up around you, you're off to the doctor to get something to help you cope with stress. Instead of dealing with it, we give you something to make as though it's not there. Not good for us. Look what we end up suffering with: headaches, ulcers, heartburn, pain everywhere, neck, back, knees, allergies to everything, irritable bowels, tiredness, depression, lack of energy, poor sleep. We don't feel like doing anything. So how many people have that gym membership and you're just watching it fade away? We all know those people who go into the gym, swipe their cards, and then leave. Do you guys work like that? Because you've got... or you know people like that. You've heard of that. Yeah. So that's the most exercise you get is from your car to the front of the gym. They should actually just have sort of a drive-through thing where you can just swipe. That would save a lot of time. It would be more honest. So we don't feel like exercising. Now this is obviously not a problem for a lot of you, but you might live with this guy. The erectile dysfunction, it affects us sexually. Now a man, it might be an obvious thing, but a woman, it's something as subtle as a thing we talk about, libido. I just don't feel like it ever. And we want to fix that. Some people will want to leave now. But the thing is, when you don't feel like it, you don't even feel like feeling like it. Does that make sense? That's how not feeling like it works. I don't care, and the truth is, I kind of like it this way. So it's not right, because the desire for intimacy on a physical level correlates very closely with your energy levels and your feeling of just being well and enjoying life and the richness of life. And it's more than, it moves you slightly beyond just existing and working from one day to the next, just trudging away so that SARS can take all your money. Social strain, poor self-image, marital stress. You know being overweight affects your relationships with your husbands. It makes you shy in front of groups. You want to tell your children how to live healthily, but you know you can't because they're going to throw it right back at you. And if they aren't today, they're certainly going to do it one of these days. Because if you want to know how bad you are at stuff in your life, just ask your kids. So they're very happy and they're quite expert on many, in many areas and many fields. All right, so why don't we just all stop eating?